John.
Is there anything in the repertoire discussing aliens as far as, you know, entities that are not from here, even like within a physical, on some other planet light years away? I know that, at least from my understanding, it doesn't have to work like that, right? They could be dimensional. There's all sorts of stuff that could be happening. Is there any discussion of aliens within any of these testimonies at all?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, when people are up there, often
Really?
before they get sent back or choose to come back, whatever the case may be, they will ask questions. And some, as I mentioned, the one guy asked thousands of questions. And one of the common questions is, are we alone in the universe? Now, it's almost a funny question to ask because, you know, God's not that inefficient. The universe is really big. You know, if you were traveling the speed of light, that's 7 times around the Earth in 1 second. That's a fast speed. So if you're traveling at a tremendous fast speed of light, to cross the pinpoint of light that we call the Milky Way galaxy, it's just a little pinpoint of light in the universe, you know, a little dot in the sky, our entire galaxy, you would have to travel at that tremendous speed of light 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for your whole life, and then do it for 1,200 lifetimes. So the answer to that question is yes, the universe is full of life, and there are countless other dimensions containing countless numbers of universes that are also full of life. And this galaxy that we're in now, most of the life is humanoid. There are some variations. So there are feline and reptilian and aquatic and avian and all sorts of variations, but many of them look like us. And our galactic parents, you know, who are kind of watching over us, just like when a child grows up, then they have their own children and watch over them. When a civilization grows up, they stop fighting each other and learn to live with each other in peace and harmony and learn to live with the environment, peace and harmony. Their job becomes to be a good parent and to help the seeding life on another planet. So the Pleiadians are our cosmic parents. The Arcturians are our grandparents, the cosmic parents of the Pleiadians. And if you saw a Pleiadian, you would think they were Nordic or, you know, German or something like that. They're kind of fair-skinned, blonde-haired. And so a lot of them look like us, and then there's some variations. And so, yeah, even our galaxy is full of life.
What about the idea of them being here, right? Our galaxy is full of life, but a lot of people are going to have a hard time believing that they're here on Earth or walking amongst us. What of that? And is there any reason why that couldn't be the case, or that
they're here
it to be the case? Because
okay,
but like walking among us, you say that they're walking among us,
sure,
which is going to be like, which is a crazy idea to me in the idea. So do they look like us? Are we not able to detect them? Do they have some sort of technology that is so far advanced from us that I've spoken to an alien this morning at the post office and they're just like, yeah, no, it's cool. How does that work?
Well, some of them, like the Pleiadians, look like us, so they can come here without any kind of disguise. And there are others that can use technology, or they can use their biology, so they can sort of make you think you're talking to a human when you're not, you know? It's like a suggestion, sort of, like a next-level hypnosis, almost. There's not too many of those. The Pleiadians, they don't like coming down here because all of our negative emotions out of fear, you know, we're kind of barbaric still. And to them, all that negativity is like a foul smell would be to you or I. So they tend to just have their craft here, which are camouflaged. They're well camouflaged. I mean, you go online, you know, you can type in YouTube, military camouflage. You'll see some pretty amazing camouflage right now. And we're darn primitive. We've only had a couple hundred years of technology. The Pleiadians have had over 1 million years of technology. So they can camouflage their spaceships. If you see a Pleiadian spaceship, it's because they wanted you to see it. You know, so what they're going to do, they're not going to show up right now and introduce themselves. We're too barbaric. You know, if you moved into a new neighborhood and the neighbors all said, you see that guy across the street over there? He spends half of his money on military gear and guns and all these weapons and stuff. And if you knock on his door, he's not going to open the door pointing a gun in your face, but he's going to have his hand on his gun at his side ready to go because he doesn't trust you. Well, I just described the U.S. government, didn't I? Half of the money they spend on military, and if the spaceship landed on the White House lawn, would they be met with handshakes and flowers and hugs, or would there be a military response? Yeah, we're not ready yet. So what they're going to do is they're going to start turning off their camouflage. They don't want to just show up. That's going to cause a panic. It's going to cause a crash in economic markets. They're just not going to do that. So they're going to turn off their camouflage over the years. And then when everybody has seen this flying saucers, everybody's photographed them, videotaped them, years and years we've been seeing these things. We know they're here. They're obviously not here to hurt us. They'd have done it already. Then they'll make an appearance once we're kind of aware of them. And they do that to avoid a panic. And we may have some other species show up before then, maybe the grays or something like that. But they avoid us generally the same reason if you were out, you're an archaeologist or whatever, or, you're studying primitive tribes and you run across a tribe of violent cannibals who kill outsiders. You're not going to go up and introduce yourself. You're going to study them from a distance. So that's kind of where we are now. It's probably going to be before 2050 when they show up.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. So it won't be too long. But lots of people have met them. Lots of people have communication with them. There's some that are here doing research or work or here for various reasons. Yeah.
Now, this communication that you go across, how is this done communicating? Most of the UFO lore will have telepathy and spoken word, this being kind of like the dumbed down way of communicating. So how is their communication? And I think we should even touch on like this. You said Pleiadian, and you said some other
Arcturian
I had never heard before. What was the other?
Arcturian.
Okay. Number one, their ships. Do we have any understanding of their science? Are we
a little bit?
Are we okay? And then the other communication. So people are having communication with these entities, beings, aliens, whatever. What medium are they having communication?
Well, they don't communicate through radio signals like we do. That's just way too slow. So that's limited to light speed, which is too slow. Albert Einstein described something he called spooky action at a distance. And when you take a quantum particle that's spinning in one direction, if it's quantumly entangled with another particle, doesn't matter how far apart they are, if you change the spin on one, the other particle instantaneously changes. So they use this, mind-to-mind communication. So what they do, because you've got to be on the same frequencies to communicate, you get a little walkie-talkie or a CB radio, and if you're not on the same frequency, you're not going to hear each other. And so we're lower vibration beings, we're in a very lower, very dense reality, and they're in higher vibration reality. So a Pleiadian or an Arcturian, for example, will lower their frequency, their vibration. The human being will raise their frequency and vibration. And when they match, they will be able to communicate. And then the alien communicating will use the knowledge and experience and cultural information to communicate in the words of that person. So in other words, there's things from other cultures, like in Spanish, I'm married to a Mexican woman. They have something called a quinceañera, which is the celebration of a girl becoming a woman. It's a 15th birthday. There's no direct translation for that. There's no word for the quinceañera in English. You have to understand the culture. And so the best way to communicate is to connect mind to mind. And now the alien is connected to the mind of the human. And when they have to convey an idea, they use the terminology and the cultural understanding of the human being to convey that idea. Way of communication is linear. It's word for word. It's very slow. They communicate in bulk. Like the internet, I send you a file. I can send you the Bible. A PDF of the Bible is fairly small. I can send it to you in a couple seconds. One block of data, bang. Well, it would take you months to read it. And so they kind of have to slow down for us. But yeah, it's this mind-to-mind communication. It's called channeling. And there's lots of Pleiadian channelers out there, and Arcturian channelers, and Syrian channelers. And some of my favorite channelers are Bashar and Cryon and Tobias, and there's lots of